Hello and welcome to another Supplier Diversity and Small Business Economic Impact Weekly Report. Want to wish everybody a happy holiday. As you're pretty much well aware now, I wasn't able to get to this last week. I was actually out of town, but back in town, back working. I'm here to give you the weekly update. So for today, actually, today, Friday, November 30th, 2018, actually begins or I don't know if it begins, but the G20 summit is actually going on right now in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And for those who aren't familiar with that, it's basically the top 20 economies in the world. So 19 countries plus the EU basically meet once a year, come together, hash out some deals, hopefully, that will work, that will lead to, the betterment of the global economy. Uh, nothing, nothing too big here. If you go online and just type in G20, you'll just see nothing but basically the big theme, I guess, here is tensions. So that's what the media is kind of pushing here, is because of the tariffs that are going on between the U.S. and versus everybody. There's major concerns in terms of what's going to happen moving forward, and if you know deals are going to be made that can help out again the economy as on a global perspective. So the big one is the U.S. and China meet, uh, and people trying to figure out what's going to happen with that. But long story short, with that, I don't really see anything happening. President Trump from the U.S. has already stated that he's going to implement more tariffs on China, and he's actually pretty happy with the current standing with the country. Let's see if I can find it in here. Here it is. Speaking to reporters at the White House, he said, so being President Trump, that while China was interested in striking a deal, I don't know if I'd want to, and I like the deal we have now, which is odd, but so that's pretty much his stance. And in addition to that, America also canceled a meeting with Russia um, due to their movements on Ukraine naval boats, which I'm not going to get into the political tension with that, but from an economic standpoint, that's fine. There's really nothing major that's going on between the U.S. and Russia outside of political media type events. Got some other stuff going on. For example, France and stated that he may not meet with Brazil because Brazil is thinking about pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So you got some other things that's going on as well that need to be hashed out. But again, the big thing here is that there's a lot of moving parts. In particular, when you're talking about the U.S. and their tariffs versus everyone, I'm kind of figuring out what's going to happen with that. But my sense in general is that not much is going to happen here. It's going to be a lot of show, but nothing significant is really going to come out of this. And as I say that, I segue over to the next part, which is NAFTA 2.0 is signed. So it was actually signed at the G20 summit. It's one of the first things that they did there. So I say nothing significant is going to happen, and then I segue over to this. Now, if you've been following the weekly report, you understand that one of the big things that I've been trying to push about this new deal is that while it may seem cool and it looks like we're going to get this thing done tomorrow, don't hold your breath. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I do want to point out the fact that the first NAFTA deal, which was signed by George H.W. Bush, it's kind of funny because it's really like this big push to it's almost like the NAFTA deal is an Obama thing, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Obama. Funny enough, but yeah, so it was signed by George H.W. Bush. I believe it was 1990 in December something 1992. It actually didn't go into effect until January 1, 1994. So if we follow the same timeline, the new USC or USMCA, I don't know, the new deal, they have to. We'll get used to the acronyms, but the new deal, if it follows the same timeline, won't go into effect until January 1, 2020. So we probably still have some time here. I think that's probably a lot more reasonable timeline if we're looking at this being pushed out in 2020. Simply because there's just a lot of moving parts here. In particular, now that the Democrats have the House, in order for the new NAFTA deal to pass, it has to go through the House, and Democrats have already stated that they want to see changes made to the actual deal and not have any type of side deals um, put into the agreement, because apparently last time they tried that with the NAFTA deal and the first NAFTA deal, and it didn't work in terms of side deals being enforced. They weren't. So because of that, this time Democrats are going to want to make some changes to the agreement. We'll see if that happens. In particular, because I think it says it here. No, it doesn't. But let's see if I can't find it. It's fine. Feeling kind of lazy, but apparently, but it's basically in the article it says that Mexico has said that they are 100% fine with the current agreement and they don't want any changes. So if any changes happen, they're probably not going to. They're going to be there's going to be some pushback with the Mexican government, which if I'm Mexico, that makes sense to say from a tactical standpoint. If you like the agreement, I'm pretty sure they don't like 100% of the agreement, but if you want to show a tough standing, which is something that they're trying to do moving forward, especially with the new president, you say, hey, this is what we want. Any changes, that means that we're going to have to look at the entire thing. So, fine, if that's their stance. That's fine. Um, Canada, again, Justin Trudeau is going to be there for a while, so he's pretty much fine with what they have now. And if I believe that if some additional changes happen, he'll be open to it. He hasn't made any type of grandstanding like Mexico has. But the big piece here is America going through their Congress. It's going to have some changes in order to get to where it needs to get to. And I think that January 1, 2020 date is probably a more reasonable time frame for when it will actually go into effect. Then again, I'm basing it off of how the original NAFTA came into being, which was about a year and a half after it was signed. So, or almost, what is that? Yeah, a little over a year after it was signed. So, okay, next up, November 24th was Small Business Saturday. So, about a week has gone past, and we now have some estimates on kind of how much money was spent, how many people attended Small Business Saturday, et cetera, et cetera. So as you can see from the title, Small Business Saturday records 17 or almost 18 billion in sales, which is a record. So first off, congratulations to all the small businesses that benefited from Small Business Saturday, and I think this is a wonderful thing, a wonderful date that was first started by American Express and now has gone national, and has seen tons and tons of support from not just potential consumers, but also, I mean, you got celebrities in it, you've got, again, government, city officials, just there's a whole strategy around promoting this now, and making sure it's successful, and it continues to just get bigger and bigger when it comes to sales. So that's really good. And this year, November 24th, 2018, I saw a record for sales with 17.8 billion. Now, there was a little bit of a drop off when it comes to the amount of consumers that participated. So 104 million versus 108 million. But I mean, still, that's huge, and I do think that this is fantastic. One of the things that I also want to note, let's see if I can find it here, are the people who shopped online. So about 41% said they shopped online this year. I think I saw somewhere about over 3 billion was spent online with small businesses for for the entire weekend. So including like Black Friday all the way up until so Small Business Saturday and Sunday as well. But I do think so that 41%, while it's really good, I do see that number increasing as we move forward, and that's a good thing. So I do think that over the next, honestly, year, small businesses may want to invest more so in online sales, because I do think that that is where the market is growing. So, couple more articles, and then I'll say my goodbyes. But For the next one up, European Union aims to become the world's first climate neutral economy by 2050. Uh, I thought this was pretty interesting. I think that's something that people need to take a look at. Now, the key here is some things that you almost forget sometimes that it's almost 2020. So this is pretty much a 30-year plan. Basically, there are no hard goals set to achieve this. They just know that they want to be um, climate neutral. So what that means is that what is it? Let me get the. It has to do with the carbon emissions. Let me get the. Here it is. Climate neutrality is achieved when carbon emissions are at zero. So they're looking to achieve that again by 2050. It really plays a big part in their Paris agreement that the EU is strongly behind, and they're really trying to push and promote that to create a more safer and healthier climate. So they've connected with a couple of experts, or not a couple, but about 27 experts ish, uh, to figure out ways to do this, to achieve this moving forward. I think this is great, especially when you're talking about alternative energies um, in the EU. So those will probably have a lot of opportunities moving forward. Something that I think America should definitely take a look at moving forward. But just or excuse me, professionals from 27 international institutions. But with that being said, I think this is really good, and I think that hopefully this becomes a global initiative, pushing towards a climate neutral global world. But EU has started it, and we'll see how that goes. Lastly, I want to talk about the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, and kind of some of the movements over there. So the big piece here is there's a couple of big pieces. So Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said that the risks of destabilizing runs are far lower than the past. The institutions at the heart of the financial system are more resilient. Uh, the big piece here is after he gave his big speech, where he talks about that it's still a strong economy. However, there are some uncertainties. In particular, he's taking more so a look at the tariffs and how they're affecting the American economy. Um, because of, well, he didn't say anything specific. The sentiment was that he's going to hold off on raising interest rates. Now, again, we've spoken about this before. Next year, he's apparently, I don't know if it's a rumor or if he said it, but every time I look it up, I've seen that the Fed wants to raise interest rates 3 times by the end of next year. Due to, but with that being said, as you're probably familiar with, the stock market has been dropping and dropping like crazy this year. Not sure if it is right now, but as of last week, it was actually lower than the year to date. So January 1 was higher. If you had bought stock, or if you had invested in the S&P, as an example, S&P ETF January 1, as of last week, you were in the red, so you were losing money. Um, so because of that, I do think that that played a big role in kind of how the Fed is trying to move forward. Because of that, I think it was Thursday, or it says it right here. It says it right here. So it doesn't give the day, but I think it's either yesterday or Wednesday. Wednesday, because he gave the speech on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, stock market jumped up 400 points. Since then, it has kind of slowly um, gone down a little bit. Not 400 points down, but it's dropped a little bit here and there. Um, but hopefully we can end the year in the green, because the past month or so has not been good for stock markets. But with that being said, Fed has taken note of that, as well as the uncertainty with tariffs. So because of that, they're planning accordingly. So but it's a bit of positive news, in particular if you are a small business looking to receive investments. So so yeah. Um, that's pretty much going to do it for me. I know I kind of stopped abruptly. Uh, I've spoken in the past about some of these other points, in particular NAFTA, so I didn't really give my full explanation on kind of how it benefits small businesses and whatnot. But I do have articles on suppliertnews.com, and I have spoken in the past about how it can affect you as a small business. The only thing I wanted to just talk about today is that while it has been signed, probably not going to see it actually implemented for a little while. So, with that being said, as always, I appreciate you checking us out. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment on the video, and share with your family and friends and coworkers. With that being said, thank you so much for your time and have a great day.